So today we are going to talk about vision boards. Specifically, we're going to talk about how to create a vision board with your child or child in your life to help them achieve the best school year yet. Doesn't have to be just for the school year, it can be done at any time. But today's example we're going to use for the school year. And linked below will be a link to the printable that we are showing in this video. So without further ado, let's get to it. Why is a vision board important? And why is it something that we should do at the beginning of the school year with our children? Well, a vision board, whether it's for adults, whether it's for children, really helps you to tap into that potential that we all have and further to lay it out in front of us to be able to visualize it, to be able to see it, to think about it. We're able to tap into our potential. We're able to tap into that part of our imagination that links us to our intuition, that helps us connect all of the things that we know we want to have in our lives. And so being able to expand on that can be a lot of fun with children. So it's a way to take this next school year and make it one of the best years that they've had yet because it's giving them this vision, it's giving them goals, it's giving them opportunities and things that they can look at realistically and have already felt a little bit of familiarity with it, some comfortableness because they've already created this vision, this picture in their mind, which also helps them on a neuroscience level connect to these things with a little bit more ease than they would have without the board. So on this board, and there's a few different options for this board, which they will be attached and you can download for free. So one of the first things to do here is to talk with your child. What are the top 3 goals that they may have for the year? This can be anything. This doesn't have to just be academic related. This can be as far as friendships, this can be family, this can be any sort of thing that's coming up for them. On an academic level, maybe, they have a goal to be in the spelling bee, because for me as a child, that was a goal that I had. And to be able to be in a spelling bee, there were a lot of things that I needed to do to be able to prepare for that. Maybe this year is the year that they want to be better focused on math. And that is one of their goals is they want to get better in math. Or maybe, they want to join a sports team, something. So, going over with them the top 3 goals that they have here. And as well as this is where we break down into further detail of some of the other areas in life. So like school, what are 3 goals for school? What are 3 goals and things that they will accomplish? What are 3 things that they know that they will accomplish in this year? This could be creating new friendships. This again could go back through like the spelling bee, getting better at math, because this is something they know that they are going to accomplish. And it's pretty fascinating with a child that a child's mind is so incredibly malleable that when you ask these questions, unlike adults, you're going to get an answer and you're going to get some feedback that's pretty strong and might actually surprise you as to what they ask or what you ask them and what they answer with. What 3 hobbies? What are 3 things that they're interested in, either expanding on, picking up, learning, 3 things that they might be interested in that they haven't had a chance to pursue before, maybe 3 things that they're already doing that they want to do more of. 3 friendship goals. Is it they want to have, more time where they have that quality time with the friendship, where that they do certain things, where maybe they're inspiring to have like dates where they can go out on a walking date, going in the park, something like that. Those cute little friendship dates, those play dates that, we look at and we love to see them do and they get so connected to. Maybe they have some more of those ideas and just talking over with them to see what that's like. Health and wellness, do they want to get out there and be more physical? Do they want to, walk and learn to, like my son, recently had this goal of riding his bike to a certain place and then, starting to do that a little bit further. Is there that type of goal that they're looking at? What are they excited for this year? And this can, again, be in any area. When you ask your child, you may be surprised at what comes up because this is a chance for them to open up and really talk to you about what is going on. And then what type of family goals do they have? What type of things do they want to be able to do with you? And, this doesn't have to just be, a child that's your son, your daughter. This can be any child in your life. This can be used for any child that you have a connection with. And these are very, very fun to do. And, the last question here is I'm proud of myself for thinking about this whole school year that's ahead of themselves. What are they proud of themselves for? What is something that they know that they're going to be able to do and accomplish that they're proud of themselves for? Us as adults, we tend to take this step back and we don't often talk about what we're proud of ourselves for. We approach life in a way that we kind of just see the outside and what's going on instead of kind of, you know, getting inside and saying, "Hey, I'm proud of myself for showing up today. I'm proud of myself for going on that walk. I'm proud of myself for staying connected to the goal that I have." So when we ask our children, "What are you proud of yourself for?" This gives them a chance to really start to create this habit very early on in life, which can also help them as they grow. The more that they recognize what they're proud of themselves for, the more that they're going to give that to themselves as they go forward. And like I mentioned, there's a few different templates here to use. There's the plain one here was just the 2022. There's different colors here, and then the first one that has a little bit more pinks and everything. And then here's one that just says my vision board. All children are different. I know this from my children, so this can all just be based off of which one they like best. And so here are some questions to help them dive a little bit deeper into what it is that they're going to be doing. So we're just going to read the question and then I'll explain it a little bit further. And then you will have these prompts to be able to print out and have them write out. Like, this is a chance for them to truly tap into their imagination. This is really a chance for them to go deeper and to really set this into place. So, this first prompt is think about someone who has achieved similar goals as you have. How do you think they did it? What do you think helped them achieve these goals? So, example, someone I know got really high grades in math. They did this because they set the intention that this was important to them and they focused on their learning. I saw them ask questions, study, and be excited about what they were learning. So, with that, going back to the math example, you know, it helps when we have somebody to look to. So when we think about these goals, like if one of the goals was to have higher grades in math, then, someone along the lines they have most likely seen be able to achieve those grades. And them achieving those grades, they had to have gotten there somehow. So then this is a chance for the child to tap into their imagination and really think about how would they have done this? So ask them, like, how do you think that they did it? And then if your child says, I don't know, which is one of my favorite questions to kind of give a little bit of a flip on that, ask them again and ask them, well, if you did know, what would you say? And chances are you might have to ask that question and rephrase it again. If I did know, what, if you did know, what would you say? You might have to ask that a couple times, and that's entirely okay. But they're going to end up giving you an answer. And this works on adults too. And so with that, you know, ask them, have them open up their mind. Chances are you probably won't have to go too deep in, and they will probably give an answer pretty quickly, even if you have to do the I don't know example a couple times. And ask them, what do you think helps them achieve these goals? And again, this just lets them go further into that imagination. It allows them to see the possibilities for themselves. It allows them to set themselves into this place that they have to expand their mind to come up with an answer. And by coming up with answers, they're able to have ways that they can do this for themselves. And these won't be all of the ways that they will be able to do these things for themselves, but these will be beginning ways for them to be able to do this. And the next prompt is think of a specific goal you have. What action steps would need to be taken in order to achieve it. Think of a think of a specific goal you have. What action step would need to be taken in order to achieve it? Example, I want to be great at math. So to be great at math, I will listen, ask questions, and let myself dive in to all that I am curious about. So thinking about the math, like when you ask them, going back to one of those top goals, ask them about the action step that would need to be taken to achieve it and see what comes up for them. So another example would be if, us as adults, if we're wanting to add in more healthy choices to our lives, what is that action step going to look like? Well, I'm going to maybe research recipes. I'm maybe going to talk to people who have done something that I'm looking to do. I'm going to maybe search the internet. Like, we're asking questions to dive into this on what are possible action steps that could be taken in order to achieve this goal. So, as we're thinking about these action steps, this really helps us put in place this kind of this roadmap of where we're going. So, action leads to this road that helps us get down to reach our goal at the end. And it helps us keep us on that track. It keeps on track so that we can keep going, so that we can get to that place where we're not having so many side steps off of that road that maybe lead us, into that same direction, but it's going to take us there in a much longer way. Thinking about the actions can get us there into a shorter amount of time. And then it also allows us to bring these steps to our children that allow them to use this type of model going forward for anything. So the next prompt is thinking of the action steps that would need to be taken for your goal. What type of mood or state of emotions would you need to be in to do the action? So, example, I want to be great at math. So I will need to be persistent, open minded, and ready to grow. So going back to the healthy choices option, the example that I was just giving for like us adults to think about this in context is when we think about these healthy choices, what type of, emotions and mood would we have to be in? Well, I'd have to be curious. I'd have to be curious. I'd have to have this desired state within myself to know that like I know that by me doing these things, I'm going to feel really good. I'm going to feel this within me, and it's going to make me even more curious to look to find more healthy choices that I can add in. It's also going to give me a sense of fulfillment. I'm also going to use that same sort of thing with math and be persistent because I know that being healthy is something that's important to me. And by being healthy and getting into a healthier state, for my life, like I am going to find myself feeling better. I'm going to find myself having more energy. I'm going to find myself feeling just more aligned with the person that I know is at the end of that goal. So just really have them think about this emotions, this state, so that this is something that they can tap into as we get further into these next examples. So, this next one is to draw or write out a descriptive picture of you after you have achieved your goal. Think of how incredible it feels. Think of everything that you would see around you. Think of all the things that you would let, think of how incredible it feels. Think of everything you would see around you. Think of all the things you would be doing. So, this next example, you're going to have them draw or write out a descriptive picture or story. So in this example, draw or write out a descriptive picture or story of you after you have achieved your goal. Think of how incredible it feels. Think of everything you would see around you. Think of all the things you would be doing. let your imagination soar. So, with this, you're going to have them think of themselves at the place that they have achieved their goal. So, I think that this is best done with having them close their eyes and ask them to think about themselves after they have achieved this goal. Ask them, what do they see around them? How are they feeling? What are the things that they are doing? And let them really dive into that picture and have them, get really imaginative. What kind of colors do they see? What kind of things are they hearing around them? Are there any scents? When you lock in all of these senses with this picture, you create a memory before it's ever even happened. The mind is so absolutely incredible that it does not know the difference between something that's real and something that is imagined. So, with that being said, we can use that to our advantage. And so we get to create these memories before that they've ever even happened. And why is that important? Because if you create a memory before it's ever even happened, then it helps the child to feel familiar with what it is they're acting to achieve. So this is just the same way in us as adults. We are looking to achieve something, but if it's unfamiliar to us, it's going to bring a sense of discomfort, a sense of unease. And we, you know, may accomplish it, or we may put it on the shelf and decide, this is not for us because of the discomfort that we are feeling. So with children, it is the same thing. With children, we get to help them create this really detailed descriptive picture, and they're going to put in all of the work within their mind. And so therefore, when they're setting out to do the things, they already have it there locked in because in their mind, the memory is already there and created. So thinking about that math example again, so if your child is thinking about themselves after they've achieved this goal, so maybe it's they've received the report card. The report card has the highest grade they've ever received in math. And they are so excited. They're holding the report card, they're showing you, and they're beaming, they're they're elated and they can feel it. So asking them like what would they see around them that goes along with that picture? What are those feelings? How does it feel to hold that report card in your hand? So really getting descriptive. And the more descriptive and the more feelings and the more senses that are all connected here, the bigger that this memory gets to be, which is absolutely incredible and is so much fun. And this is something that as adults, if you choose to create a vision board, this is one of my favorite ways to do it, is to really think of yourself at the end. What does that picture looks like? If you achieve all of the things that you set out for yourself, what does that picture look like for you? How would that feel? You know, that helps us look behind it and look behind and find our why. Like maybe sometimes if we come into this picture, maybe it wasn't the math that was so important. Maybe it was just the actual achieving that goal that was important. Oftentimes we set out to do these goals, and when we're flying blind with them, we don't know what they mean to us. And so when we don't have that same connectedness to it and we don't know what it means to us, then it's just another thing that we're just like, okay, I did it. And how likely are you to go on to the next thing without any meaning to it? And so this is the basics of creating the vision board for this year. And at the end of this is a few more prompts to really help your child dive in and really help to go over all of the things that we talked about and really help them have the most successful year ever. Children's minds are capable of so many incredible things. When we help them foster this growth, they get to feel how capable they truly are. So let's help them make this school year the best year ever. Let's let their imaginations go to work. Like have them feel those possibilities. The possibilities are infinite and their potentials are infinite. And the more that we can give them in the way of helping them with their potential, the more that they can know that absolutely anything is possible for them when they're using that imagination to their advantage. And they're using it to look at these potentials and these possibilities. When we help them learn, we help them find the ways to grow. I hope you loved this video as much as I loved making it. If you have absolutely any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. Also, please click the link below so that you can get the printable to help your child expand their mind. And with that, I hope you continue reaching for infinite possibilities and potential within you and within your child.